If you agree with something, your attention will focus to it. It gives it validation, and then it becomes an existence. Now, if you didn't pay attention to anything, if something came your way, you heard about it, you just refused, you ignored it. No attention went to it, no energy went to it. Once you stop paying attention to things, they'll be removed from your life. Welcome back to the C-Roc channel here on YouTube. I'm also in my mentor group. We meet Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. If you're interested in that, make sure you message me or comment below and I'll get you the link to sign up. It's a free community that we're building to create wow lives and wow people and being unstoppable to live in the life of our dreams. And today I just kind of wanted to lean into the topic of infinite potential. If you believe in infinite potential, if you don't, it really doesn't matter. Potential rises as you accomplish. And we always want to make sure we're paying attention to, are we taking this thing as far as we can take this thing? When you wake up in the morning, what are your thoughts? Are your thoughts like, I'm just gonna get through the day? Oh, I gotta deal with this today, I gotta deal with that today? Or are your thoughts like, how far can I take this thing today? What is in store for me today? How can I impact people today? How can I elevate people today? You see, some people only worry about themselves and how they're gonna survive, but everything will change for you in your life if you decide to thrive and decide that you can affect this world, this planet, by being the best version of yourself, taking it as far as you can go towards your potential, and then affecting other people around you. And the better people do around you, the better you do in your life. And that's crucial to understand. You see, I have this group, we talk about this all the time. The first time we met in this group, we took an 8x11 paper and a notebook and we said, hey, we need to write our stories down. And I don't know how many of you that heard this before are actually doing it every day or as many days as possible. But when you wake up in the morning, instead of just writing your goals down or just journaling, if you're intentional and specific and you actually write the story of the person that you want to be or the person that you are. And you can see this notepad here. I fill up these pages. There's pages and pages, and it's basically me writing a story of the life that I want. And this is important to understand. This is how this all works. I'm going to take you through a quick formula so that you understand how this works. Okay? We all are living in a universe that's a common universe to the degree that we agree with it. Okay? If you agree with something, your attention will focus to it. It gives it validation, and then it becomes an existence in your universe. I call it universe, your world. Everybody uses different terminology, but like, can you imagine waking up and creating your own universe? A lot of people can't because they've always just agreed with everything that's around them. Their parents told them something, their friends told them something, somebody showed them something, and they agreed with it. And when you agree with something, you validate it. And then that means you're paying attention to it. So when you pay attention to something, it becomes an existence. Now, if you didn't pay attention to anything, if something came your way, you heard about it, you just refused, you ignored it. No attention went to it, no energy went to it, it wouldn't exist in your world. If there was something that happened across the planet and you never heard about it, ever, nobody brought it up, you didn't even know about it, does it really exist in your world? You got to realize there's things happening all around us right now that you don't pay attention to and you're not validating it, so it's not in existence. But there are things that you are paying attention to that you shouldn't be, and that is you are validating them and then they're real to you. And it's stuff that you don't want in your life. So if you can grasp this concept of the fact that you should only pay attention to the things that you write your story about, then you will only validate those things, and those are the only things that'll be in your existence. And so what I want to challenge you this week, I want to challenge you after watching this video to look in your life, kind of do an assessment. And if there's anything in your life right now that you're not happy with, that you do not like, you're doing something to cause that. You have to take responsibility for it. Stop blaming other people, stop blaming other things, take responsibility. And by taking responsibility, what you're going to do is you're going to say, what am I paying attention to that I don't want to be paying attention to? Because that's leading to validating that thing or that idea or that person. And it's allowing that person to be real to you, right? To be in existence. This is powerful performance coaching that I'm doing right now. Okay. Once you stop paying attention to things, they'll be removed from your life. And how do you figure that out is by writing your story of the person you want to be, who you want to be doing it with, where you want to be doing it, why you want to be doing it, when do you want to be doing it. And then that attention, because your intention's set on that, your attention's going to flow to those things, and you're going to take your attention off the things you don't want in your life. Some of you stew and obsess on things, and it bothers you, and you're just like, oh, and you don't feel like you have any power. You're totally affected to that thing, and that's because you're paying attention to it. You know, I make mistakes like this sometimes with this. There was an event that happened over the last week, and I don't even want to talk about the specifics of it because I'm giving attention to it. And by just doing this little bit thing right now that I'm telling you about, it's giving attention to it, and it's bringing it into existence. So I'm not going to go into detail, but I have to share this with you as an example. There's a thing that was going on and in Clubhouse and with a particular person, and we were bringing attention to it. And when we brought attention to it, we validated it. And when we validated it, it became existent in my universe, or my world. Whereas as soon as I noticed something that was off, If I would have just ignored it and not paid an ounce of attention to it beyond the initial notification of it, it would have went out of existence because I would have invalidated it and I would have moved on. But sometimes you fall trapped to it, you fall victim to it, and you go into it and you want to talk about it because it's like, sometimes it's a shock thing that you saw something, you're like, I can't believe that happened. And you talk about it and then you validate it and then it becomes more existence and it feeds it, it fuels it. This happens with fear, this happens with anxiety, this happens with things about money, this happens with things about relationships in your life that you just do not want. So I'm here to tell you today, as you're watching this video, if you're in the call today, stop paying attention to the things you don't want. And you do that by setting your intentions clearly in the story that you write about the person you want to be. And then as you do this and you set your intention, you have to create a way to measure things. You have to create a way to measure something, keeping stats on something so that you know if you're going in the right direction. And I want to challenge you on this video here today on YouTube and the group to pick three things that you're going to measure from this day forward to make sure you're on the right track. You can do more, but let's start with three at least. It could be your weight. It could be the calories you're taking in. It could be your expenses that you're spending. It could be the money that you're bringing in. It could be the time that you spend with a particular individual. It could be the amount of pages you read, the amount of pages you write, the miles you run, the steps you walk, the weights you lift. I can keep going on. You see how many things there are to measure? I want you to take the three most important things in your life right now, write them down, and I want you to start measuring those things. Figure out a way to measure those. If you keep the data properly, you can actually graph it, and you want to make sure your graph is on an upward trajectory for the good things and on a downward trajectory for bad things. So depending on what you're measuring, the good things will go on an upward trajectory, that's a good graph, and the bad things will go on a downward trajectory, that's a good graph. If it's flat, that's no good for either one. If it's a good thing, a bad thing, flat graphs, they always go in the wrong direction if you let them stay flat. But I really want to focus on measuring. Now, I'm in day 21 of not drinking any alcohol. Today, at the end of the day, it'll be 21 days. And the reason I did that, and you have to put a story to why you're measuring something. It helps. It gives it power, it gives it weight. When I was in Mexico, we did some day drinking. I had some margaritas, right? I never drank till I got drunk or anything, and I never was hungover, but the next day I had anxiety. I felt something I don't normally feel. And I just figured, what am I doing differently now? The only thing I can do thinking I'm doing differently is I'm drinking during the day. And I decided on the 21st that I'm not drinking anymore. I'm not saying forever. I'm just saying I'm going on a streak and I'm gonna measure how many days I don't drink. So that's one thing I'm measuring right now. Another thing I'm measuring is I'm dropping pounds, right? So I'm measuring and I have a goal and a target. How many pounds am I dropping through the month of March and then forward? I have a lot of things I'm measuring. I don't do just three, but I have a lot that I'm measuring. And also it's calories. It's also steps. I measure a lot of things. Finances, expense, I measure things. So I want you to pick three things and measure. And I want you to come back, comment in this chat of this video, and also make sure you message me on what your thoughts are on this, what you're deciding to measure so that I can hold you accountable. Just by sharing it with me, you're holding yourself accountable. And that's the message I wanted to share with you today. So keep coming back, subscribe to this channel, like this if you like it. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. And until next time, it's your boy C-Roc. Be unstoppable.